Hello, and welcome to this live online demonstration brought to you by SoftExpert. My name is George, and I will be leading you through today's demonstration. The demonstration will have two parts. The first part will be a general overview of our company and also our suite of products. And then the second part of our demonstration will be a detailed look at the Corporate Performance Management Solution, otherwise known as CPM. And for that part, we're going to actually log on to the system and take a look at some of the details of the features of our solution. Just an administrative note, this session is being recorded, and if you would like to watch the recording, it will be available at the same link that you used to log on to watch the live session here today. So let's start out by taking a look at some general information about SoftExpert. SoftExpert is a market leader in software and services for business excellence. The company has been around since 1995, so we've had over 20 years of business in the market. And you can see there on the charts on the right that we have a steady history of growth. We now have over 2,000 customers and more than 300,000 users using our system worldwide. And so there are a number of industries that we serve, and no matter the size of the company or the geographic location of the company, you'll be able to use SoftExpert's suite of products to make your business better. Thinking global but acting local. You can see here that we have a worldwide presence. We have customers in over 30 countries across the globe. And we have partners on all of the continents, so North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and also Australia. So no matter where you are in the world, we'll be able to have a partner, a local partner, to be able to support you in the pre-sales process, in project implementation, in training, and also in technical support. So we have a global presence. So do keep that in mind as you watch the demonstration today. Our software is used by many different industries. You can see here some examples of the industries that we serve. Just to cite a few here, the automotive industry, we have a number of customers in the automotive industry that use our solutions for quality, to make sure that they're producing the products at the level of quality that is expected by their customers. We also have a strong presence in oil and gas, so whether it's document management or process automation or compliance with regulations, we have customers in the oil and gas industry that are using our solutions. Also food and beverage, for folks who need to monitor their production processes and make sure that their risks and hazards are being monitored and addressed, and actions are taken to correct any problems that are detected. The folks from the food and beverage industry are able to use our systems to achieve those goals. Next, an idea of some of the regulations that SoftExpert solutions will help you to meet. Certainly when we think about quality, ISO 9000 is the big standard. But if you're in an area such as environmental management, ISO 14001, or if you are somebody who's responsible for the health and safety of your workforce, then 18000 is certainly a compliance that you would be familiar with. And all of these compliances are compliances that our system will help you to achieve. The one that we're going to be focused on mostly today is the Balanced Scorecard. So when we think about performance, we think about having your set of key performance indicators, and you would be incorporating those into your balanced scorecard and monitoring the performance of each of those indicators over time. And so we'll see a few examples today in our demonstration of balanced scorecards that can be created and also monitored in our system. So SoftExpert is not just a company that makes software. We also provide services. So after you begin to use the software, and also before you begin to use the software, we have a set of services that will make sure that your use of the software is being done in the most appropriate way, and that you're getting the most out of your experience of using the SoftExpert suite of solutions. So whether you are doing an implementation project and installing SoftExpert solution for the first time, or whether you need some training, or whether you need us to host your solution in a remote data center, or if you need technical support, SoftExpert will be there for you to provide these services. Here's a small selection of some of the customers that are currently using SoftExpert systems. You can see that they come from many different industries: automotive, Honda and Toyota and GM, pharmaceutical, Merck, AstraZeneca, food and beverage with Pernod Ricard, Coca-Cola, and many others. And these ones are just the bigger ones, the ones that have the greater name recognition. But we also serve small and medium-sized businesses. We have installations that have one user. So no matter the size of your company, whether you're a tiny company with just a handful of employees, or if you're an international conglomerate with thousands of users, we have success cases from every level. Here are just a few testimonials from Okay, let's take a look now at our suite of solutions. Now, today's focus is going to be on corporate performance management. But SoftExpert provides more than just corporate performance management. We are able to provide an entire suite of solutions to help you achieve business excellence. So if you look at this image right here, you can see the different solutions that are available in our suite. So today's focus is going to be on CPM, but we also have all of these other solutions that can be used and can be integrated into the suite seamlessly. So whether you are thinking about doing product lifecycle management, where you're producing a product, you need to make sure that product is produced at a particular quality level. You need to be able to track who your customers are, who your suppliers are. You can do that within product lifecycle management. Or maybe you're somebody in IT and you need to have IT service management. You need to be able to track your IT assets. You need to be able to do help desk functions to let users open tickets and provide the service for those tickets. You can do those types of things using our IT service management solution. If you're a project manager and you're looking for a project management solution, you might be interested in our project and portfolio management solution that would allow you to create and track the different projects that you have within your organization. You can have a high-level view of the programs that you have and the portfolios that you have. You have that ability to view your projects at those different levels. You have the ability to have time control done for the employees who are actually doing the work, the project tasks. They can enter their hours worked, and you can track costs and revenues for your projects. You can do all of that here in our PPM solution. We also have solutions for business process automation, enterprise content management for documents, and a number of other solutions here. But today's focus is going to be on corporate performance management. So let's take a look at a few details here. So our CPM solution allows organizations to align strategic and business objectives with day-to-day operational performance indicators by integrating all levels through best practice approaches like Balanced Scorecard. So whenever we log on to the system here in a few minutes, we'll see a few examples of balanced scorecards that have been created, and you'll be able to see what those look like. The software offers a complete range of planning, execution, monitoring, and reporting in a collaborative environment, leading to better decision-making and improved business performance across the organization. So we'll take a look at a couple screenshots of images from the system here, just to give you a quick idea before we log on. The first one is a strategy map. So in addition to the balanced scorecard, you have the ability to build a strategy map that will show the different perspectives and objectives that you would have for your performance. And then the scorecard itself, you're able to plan your scorecard and design the structure of the scorecard the way that you want. The indicators themselves can be defined on the frequency that you want, whether it's monthly or quarterly or biannually or annually. You have that ability to define the frequency that you will be measuring your indicators. And you also have the ability, once you execute the scorecard, to actually provide the measurements and the targets at the frequency that you have defined for each of the indicators. In addition to the scorecards, we also offer you risk management. So if you are interested in evaluating the risks that you have within your organization, that is another part of our CPM solution. We allow you to design evaluation methods such as heat maps, where you can plot severity versus probability and arrive at a particular risk level for your risk evaluations. We'll take a look at a risk plan in the system in a few minutes. Projects. You also have the ability to define projects, plan and execute those projects. And here we have an example of a Gantt chart that you can see for a project that is in execution. Here's a view of a scorecard that is in execution. And here we're able to see the performance for each of the indicators and each of the objectives and perspectives that we have in our scorecard. We also have some graphing capability here. You can see the gauges that have been configured for the indicators. We'll take a look at all of this in detail once we get into the system. If you have problems or nonconformities that you would want to analyze, if your performance is not meeting the level that you are expecting or that you want, you have the ability to model processes that will take you through a set of steps to analyze the reason that those problems or those that lack of performance occurred. You have the ability to create dashboards, executive level dashboards, or dashboards for any other user that you would want to allow to view the information in the system. And those dashboards can contain charts and graphs and gauges and even the detailed information about the indicators themselves. And you are able to set the security on those dashboards to make sure that only the users that you want to be able to view that information can in fact view that information. And for the creation of those graphs and charts, we do that through a tool called Analytics. And Analytics is a drag and drop interface tool that will let you build the graphs and charts that you want based on the information that is available, in this case in the performance module. Okay, let's step out of the company and module or solution overview. And now we're going to head into the system. So our system is a web-based system. It runs on a centralized server that you can log into from your web browser. And let me show you the list of components that we have in our system. So I talked briefly about a number of these components there on the introduction. But today's demonstration is going to focus mainly here on our performance module. I'll also take you into our project module to let you see some example projects. And we'll also take a look at an example risk plan in our risk module right here. But let's start first here in the performance module. And we'll take a look at a couple example scorecards. Okay, here we're visualizing a scorecard that is in execution. You can see on the left here the structure of our scorecard. So our indicators are these the rows that have the little blue arrow icon. I can see for any given indicator just by mousing over the performance icon to see what the performance of my indicator was at the time that that I am looking at in my scorecard right now. So you can see here through this gauge that we did not achieve the level that we had hoped to during this measurement of our indicator. Our target was 35%. The measurement was 23%. I have the ability to change the date of the snapshot at any time. So if I would want to visualize the state of my scorecard for any date in the past, then I could select the date here from my date picker, and the scorecard would adjust to show me the measurements for that particular date. If I wanted to see some details related to this indicator, I can click into it, and the system will open me a new window where I can see some detailed information about my indicator. For example, I can see the history of the entries for the performance of this indicator. So in this case, we have a monthly indicator, so I can see the performance from December, November, October, September, etc. I still have the ability to mouse over each indicator and see the details of the target and the measurement. I can also see some charts. So for example, if I wanted to see a chart that showed me the performance in each period throughout the year, I could select to see that chart. And by mousing over each bar in the chart, I have some detailed information about the measurement for each month. In our system, you also have the ability to define an accumulation for each indicator. So whether that accumulation is an average, as it is in this case, or a summation of the indicators, depending on your business need, you have the ability to define those accumulations and be able to view that accumulation measurement here in the system. Okay, let's take a look at another scorecard here. We'll take a look at a scorecard that's based on software project performance. So for those of you in IT that have software projects where you want to be able to analyze the performance of your projects, you could create a scorecard and be able to measure different KPIs regarding your software projects. So if you would want to measure, for example, the number of critical bugs that have been reported or the number of feature requests, those are the types of things that you could measure with key performance indicators in our balanced scorecard. And as before, you have the ability to put your mouse over the performance icon and see what the performance of your indicator is at the date that has been set in your scorecard view here. You can see that we have a number of other items that we can associate to a particular indicator. So if we would want to be able to associate a particular comment for this time period, we could have a comment. We also have the ability to have a forum or a bulletin board to be able to exchange information or questions about the indicators. Here we have an event. So for example, if you have a nonconformity or some incident that happened that you would want to leave as a record here in your scorecard, you could have that right here. And this is all clickable. So if you wanted to go in and see the details of this particular problem, you could come in here and see the details of this problem. In this case, we've already done a root cause analysis of this problem, and we've identified a lack of procedure as the root cause. These are built-in tools that would allow you to do the root causes either through fishbone analysis or 5 whys or some other tools. We also have an action plan. If I wanted to see the details of that action plan, I could click into the details of that action plan and see what's going on. This is an integration, in fact, with our action plan module. So we were in the performance module, and if we wanted to have an action plan to take preventive action or corrective action based on the indicator performance, we could create an action plan that would integrate with our performance module. So this is an action plan from the action plan module, but in fact we can see it directly from within our scorecard. We don't have to go over there to the action plan module to see it. We can see our action plan right here from our scorecard. In the same way as we saw before, we have the ability to drill in to each of the indicators here. We have the ability to see our duration chart, showing me the performance for each time period. And our accumulation, which in this case is a sum. So over the course of time, we're doing a summation of the different indicator measurements and seeing here how they fall into our ranges. So the green indicates a good range, yellow average, and an orange not so good. So we can see here that this particular indicator needs to be improved. Okay, let's take a look at one more scorecard here. For you folks coming from manufacturing sector, this is an example of a scorecard that is used to measure the effectiveness of a particular piece of equipment. So we have a piece of equipment here that's a spray dryer. And here we're tracking all kinds of indicators related to operational speed loss, technical speed loss, plant operating time, plant production time. And each of those we've created as an indicator in our scorecard. And in fact, many of these are calculated indicators. They're based on values that have been entered in other parts of the scorecard. And that's a feature that we have in our performance module. You're able to define a formula to calculate the value of certain indicators. Okay. There are some really nice charts and graphs that we can show related to this scorecard. I'll show you those in a minute here. Okay, let's take a look at an example of a risk plan. So we'll step out of our performance module now, step over into the risk module. So here we have a number of different risk plans. No matter which sector you're working in, you're always going to have risk in your business. So we have some examples here that show some information technology risks. For folks who are doing health and safety management, we have an example here for health and safety risk. We also have an example for environmental risk. So independent of what business sector you're in, you will have the ability to use our risk management module to identify the risks that you have within your organization. Now, Our risk module is very interesting because it allows you to integrate very easily with the other modules in our system, specifically the performance module, the project module, the process module, and also the asset module. And what that means is, in the case of an integration with performance, is that we can create a risk plan that is based on a particular balanced scorecard. So let's take a look at this example that is a risk plan related to our software project performance. So here you can see that the structure of our risk plan is in fact based on the structure of our scorecard. So here are those indicators that we had for our scorecard for software project performance. And you can see here that I can associate a risk to a particular indicator in my scorecard. And if I want to see some details about that risk, I can click on Edit. And I'll open up the evaluation of our risk. So you can see here that we have to create a risk evaluation that is done through a heat map. So in this case, what we're doing is we're plotting the likelihood that the risk will occur against the severity if that risk happens. And we're plotting where that falls on our heat map. And the system allows you to identify the value for the severity and the value for the likelihood, and it'll place your evaluation onto the heat map according to the selections that you've made here in the result. This represents the current evaluation. I also have the ability to maintain a history of the evaluations that I've done. So you can see here that I had an initial evaluation that was done back in March, and then another evaluation in April, and then another one in May. And here I can see details of each of those evaluations, the overall result and the values for the different criteria that were entered. There's also the ability to provide an explanation. So if you would want to provide an additional text explanation as to why the risk was evaluated that way, you have that ability, and you can see here all of those explanations in your evaluation list. You can also see the history on the heat map. So if you wanted to see where the initial revision fell and then all other subsequent revisions, you can see where those have been plotted on the heat map. Okay. There are a number of other associations that you can make with your risk. So whether you would want to be able to identify the risk sources, the causes of that risk, the consequences, best practices or objectives, all of these are associations that you can make here in the risk record. Okay. In addition to this vision of the risk plan through the structure, we have some other ways to view the risk plan. If you'd want to see it as the risk matrix instead of as the structure, you could select to have the vision as a matrix. And in this case, it will plot all of my risks onto a single heat map. So here I can see where each risk has fallen on the heat map. By selecting the risk, it'll highlight it for me up here in the heat map. Instead of seeing the result on the heat map, I could simply see the quantity. So in this case, I've got one risk that has fallen into each quadrant here. But if I had multiple risks that had fallen into a particular quadrant, it would show me the quantity of risks that have fallen into each quadrant of my heat map. I also have the ability to see a simple listing of the risks. Okay. Or a diagram. If I want to see a diagram that shows me the structure of my risk plan here, I can do that. It shows me the structure of my scorecard, and then hanging off each indicator in the scorecard, I see my risks. These are my risks down here. And I can see the risk evaluation for each risk. Okay, Let's take a quick look at an example project from our project module. And for this, we'll come to our software project example again. In this case, we have a software system called housing management. Let's take a look at the project schedule. And here I have the ability to see the list of project tasks that I have. Okay, I've got different project tasks with different planned dates. I can see who the responsible user is and the percentage of work that has been completed on that task. Okay, I can see if the tasks are in execution, if they haven't been started yet, if they're finished. And I can see over here a Gantt chart representation of the different tasks on the schedule. In addition to the project schedule, I can see some other general information about my project. So for example, if I wanted to see information related to the costs of my project, I can see information about costs, revenues, and gross margin. Specifically, costs related to resources and revenues related to resources are also incorporated here in my view of the costs. And all of those are calculated automatically based on the billing rates that you and the cost rates that you define for the human resources that you have who are working on the project. Our system will also automatically calculate the EVM for you. So if you're interested in monitoring the earned value of your project, our system will allow you to monitor earned value and a number of other performance indicators related to your project. All this based on PMBOK. You have the ability to automatically generate a status report for your projects. I'll just show you a quick example here of a status report. We can see where we planned to be at this particular snapshot in time of the status of the project and where we actually were. I can see those performance indicators that we just saw, earned value, actual cost, planned value, and a number of other performance indicators here, cost variance, schedule variance, with some other metrics here that the system will automatically calculate for you. In terms of time control, I can see if my resources are actually performing the work at the rate that the project manager had planned for them to do it. So we can see here planned versus actual hours recorded. And I can see the actual hours recorded for each human resources who worked on the project during this time frame. I can see the overall progress of the project. So I've got a planned versus actual graph here. You can see some snapshots of the finances. Okay, that's a quick view of the different things that you can see here in the status report of the project. Okay, we only have a few minutes left here, and I would like to show you some examples of portals. So I mentioned that we have the ability to create portals in the system to be able to make charts and graphs and other information related to performance available for a set of users that you would define. So these are some examples of things that you can put onto those portals. You can think of portals as dashboards. Here we've got a strategy map. So this is a strategy map for a scorecard that we have in the system. And you can see here that the strategy map can be linked with the indicators from the scorecard that have been represented here on the strategy map. So if I want to see some details related to this particular goal, I could just click into that link on the strategy map, and I could see the performance information related to that element from my scorecard. The strategy maps can be linked to the indicators and the objectives of your scorecard. Okay. The scorecard itself, you could place as an element on your portal. So if you don't want to make your users go deep into the system and go through the menus to find a particular scorecard, you can just place it on the portal. And with a single click here, they're able to access the scorecard through the portal. You're able to put the individual indicators onto the portals as gauges. Here's some examples of graph analysis that you can do. You have the ability to build these different charts. You can have a bar chart or a line chart, different types of configurations for these charts, and make them available on the portal. And we also have the ability to create a SWOT matrix. So if you want to be able to track your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and link them to the objectives that you have within your scorecard, you have the ability to do that here through the SWOT matrix, and place the SWOT matrix on a portal so it can be viewed by any of your stakeholders. Let's take a look at another example portal here. Let's look at this one called Operation. So we had that scorecard that I showed you about 15 minutes ago about the spray dryer for you folks from the manufacturing sector. So here we have the ability to see the scorecard itself on the portal. I can mouse over each of these indicators, and if I wanted to, I could see the details of each of these indicators by clicking in. I also have the ability to see any events that happened or any processes that have been linked to the indicators. I've got strategy maps, and I've got some graphics here. This is an example of a stacked graph that is used to show the total equipment effectiveness. And so this is a stacked graph that has a number of different measures that, in theory, sum to 100%. And so we've got a number of different performance indicators here that have been incorporated into the chart. And just by mousing over the chart, I can see the measurement for each of those indicators that has been included onto the graph. And here we have the breakdown by month. So I can see per month where my total effective equipment performance fell. We also have a graph here for operational speed loss. I can see month to month my performance. And here I can see my accumulation for the year. You have the ability to put the accumulation also onto your charts. And here's another example of a SWOT matrix. Okay, we're out of time here, so I'd like to just conclude by saying thank you for your attention. Let me come back to our Flash presentation here. If you have any additional questions, or if you want to continue to explore SoftExpert and the different solutions that we have available, I invite you to visit our website, which is www.softexpert.com. And if you have any particular questions that you want to ask, or if you have some questions about licensing and costs and that sort of thing, please don't hesitate to contact us at sales@softexpert.com, this email address that you see on your screen here. Once again, that's sales@softexpert.com. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'll see you for the next live online demonstration.